Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles. Tracy Cowa, my co-host, is unable to make it today, but I have a very special guest that I've already decided is going to be my new best friend. Her name is Carrie Waltman. She's with America's Swimming Pool Company in Knoxville, Tennessee, as a franchisee. Carrie had a career in commercial property management when she met the owner of America's Swimming Pool Company of Knoxville. He put in a bid to work on the pools for the condo association she managed, but eventually she ended up training under him for 3 years before buying his business in 2022. Carrie and her office manager, Corinne Holin, have become local pool care experts and enjoy helping their community. As a valued part of approximately 10% of female owners in the America Swimming Pool Company system, she is thriving and prides herself on her expertise in the field and providing top quality customer service. I am so excited to have you today, Carrie. So thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
making time for me.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Our pre-interview, I fell in love already. I love your
You're
heart. I
so
want
sweet.
our listeners to see your heart also. So go back for me. Let's go way back for just a second.
Okay.
Um, Tell me about your childhood and becoming a mama and college and that whole kind of backdrop so we get a feel for who you are.
Okay. Well, I was born in Western New York. My dad worked for Phillips Magnavox in Sylvania, and they opened a plant in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so we moved here when I was a little kid. When I thought when we moved to Tennessee that we weren't ever going to wear shoes again, and we had to live on a farm. But I found out that was not the case. Knoxville is wonderful. It's home. I love it. I grew up here, went to high school, always did really well in school. Probably was a little bit of a problem child at times, but I straightened it out. I was started at a local community college. I did a 2 year scholarship and a work study program where I worked in the placement office. After that, I attended the University of Tennessee and I had a baby. I got pregnant at 22, and my mother was wonderful, helped me take care of him, finished my degree. I eventually went on to have two more babies, uh, was teaching, was netting $11 a day if I
Oh
paid
my.
daycare for three children. So I decided I was going to stay home with my kids and open my own in home daycare business. So that's what I did. And when my youngest was going to preschool, I started looking for a job. I asked every mom on the field trip I knew, are you hiring? What do you do? And I found a job that way. I was selling GPS devices for subprime car loans,
Oh
which is
wow.
as glamorous as it sounds. I got to travel to Detroit, Michigan, where most of my clients were bankers in the car business. With a
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, after that, I started doing property management and fell into the swimming pool business, which swimming pools are where I belong. I'm a water baby, so definitely love being in the swimming pool business.
So, do you have good memories of water, swimming, lakes,
Oh,
rivers? Tell me.
always. Knoxville is a lake life place. The Tennessee River runs through Blount County, Knox County. We kayak, we go on boats. Norris Lake is beautiful. There's so many just gorgeous places around here to be on the lake and in the water. Summertime's hot. You got to have some water in the summertime around here.
Yeah, especially in Knoxville. It's funny you're talking about the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. There's a gentleman in franchising that is a professor there. He teaches part of the entrepreneurial and franchise
Oh,
program. His name
really?
is Cordell Riley. He's very active in franchising, and he has me come in and speak each quarter on certain
Oh,
franchise topics. So
that's great. Well, my daughter attends university at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville now. So
so
family tradition. We
your
are Vol
alumni.
fans for life. Go Vols.
Uh, yeah, for sure. So, okay, so tell me about this. period of time where you were working with the original franchisee and that 3 years you spent together, how was that, and how did he know you were the right person to sell the business to?
I, we just clicked. We immediately, when I met him, I just knew he was a good dude. He's smart. He is wicked smart. Great businessman. He was flipping condos. He had some rental properties. Um, Grew up in Knoxville like I did. We just kind of immediately clicked when we started working together. As a property manager, you really need good vendors. That's the whole. If you don't have good vendors, you're just in big trouble. And he was a great vendor for me, and we did full pool renovations together. We were replastering pools. He was doing maintenance service on pools. And, you need a vendor that if the health department calls you on Friday at 2 o'clock and says we're shutting this pool down because there's no chlorine in it or whatever it is, you need a vendor you can call and say, please get this pool going for the weekend because you're going to hear it as the property manager. And he did really well. He ended up with I was managing 13 communities with almost 1,400 homeowners.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so it was a lot. And I was with him, he's like, do you want to sit at this desk? What do you want to do? I was like, no, get me out of here. And eventually he did when he had grown the business enough that he could afford to hire me. He didn't even look anywhere else. And we had been in negotiations, he said, what's the bottom line that I can get you? And then he really motivated me by giving me a percent in sales as part of my salary. So the more I sold, the more I made. And I find that's the best motivation with employees, career. It's, you don't want to say money's everything. You want to love what you do. But if you're not making any money, is it worth your time? Is it worth what you're doing? So, yeah, that's what
It's a
happened.
great, I like the way that you look. First off, he rewarded you for something that you were really good at, which had you more emotionally vested, right? It's all about success and
Yes.
building the business, but at the same time, you're learning the business, right? I mean, you already had
Yes.
some background as a property manager, but this is a very unique specialty with pools.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
but I'm really curious, um, when you think back, you chose each other. What do you think he saw in you that he knew you were the right person to bring on and that would drive that business to this next level?
He always told me that no, I was very sales oriented and a straight shooter. I have learned that you cannot beat around the bush with people. You don't try to BS anybody. Just get to the point. Get to the point. Um, Always present everyone with worst case scenario and say, I hope this isn't how, this isn't what happens, but these are the things that could happen. This is the problem that you have, and this is how you fix it. And I've always been like that with my board members, with homeowners. Dealing with homeowners really taught me, you have to tell these people, you have to cut them off and tell them. They will ask you the same question 5 different ways, and you have to say, look, the answer's still the same. You have to be firm with people. And he really liked that about me. And I don't know, we just laughed a lot together. We just clicked. He was just such a smart
Wow.
guy, such a good dude, beautiful wife, two of the most adorable little girls you ever saw in your life. I meet a lot of men in the South that I don't like. So I liked him a lot. There's a lot of anyway,
Wow.
I won't go into that, but yeah, we just clicked. I just knew he was a
You
good
really
dude, a
did.
really, really smart, good guy. And we worked well together. We were tag team and everything. We grew this business from 300,000 to 1.4 million in 2 years. Think about that. Think about the
That's
volume
crazy.
that he went on his own to having me with him. That was the growth that we saw in 2 years.
And that's what a true kind of partnership should do. It's no
Yes.
longer one person or two people. It is the power of four or five or six when you really are synergistic that way. It's interesting. You used the word be straight with people or straight shooter or whatever. And I definitely see you that way, Carrie. You call it the way it is, you put it out there, you're fearless in doing that. But there's also a part of you that's very um, warm, right? I have had people I've worked with that were direct and put it out that way, but you have a softness to you
Oh, thank
that
you.
that is very attractive. That when you say, "Hey, this needs to be done, and this is the way it's done," because it kind of allows the message to come across that it's authentic, it's caring, maybe even the word nurturing,
I'm
right?
trying to help you. That's always
Yeah,
my
that's a
approach
good
with
word.
clients. I want to help you have a problem. I want to be the one that you hire and trust to fix it. And
Yeah.
swimming pools have lots of problems. So that's the beauty of the pool business.
So there's this customer service side of you that truly wants to solve that problem, make people's
Definitely.
lives easier, and let them get back to what they enjoy doing, swimming or
Right?
right? And you can appreciate that as a water baby. So I pre our interview, I asked you if you could give me a handful of words that described you. And one of the things that you mentioned was a mom. And it was interesting because I think of that as a noun, not an adjective. But you are a mom,
Yes.
um, inside and out. Can you tell me some stories how that showed up in your life? Not just having your children, but how your mom to others also.
Well, I mean, it really started with the love I just have for my son. He brought something out in me to make me want to just really help people and take care of people and, make sure everybody has something to drink and everybody's good. And that's Southern hospitality too. But yeah, I basically helped my neighbor adopt a baby, helped her raise him while she was going to nursing school. And he's my fourth child now. I always have teenagers at my house. The fridge is always stocked. I just try to always be there for somebody because that's what I think a mom is. They're always there for you. When you need somebody, when you're sick, when you're sad, who's the first person you want to talk to? Your mama. I want to be that person for anybody who needs somebody.
But it's bleeding over, Carrie, to your business. You want to be the source of resolve for anyone that's having pool maintenance issues or whatever. It bleeds into the business, this nurturer, this mama, this caretaker, this I'll be there for you, I have your back. It really is deep for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's
I
beautiful.
try. I try.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, moms want to spank your butt too. So you got to remember that.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So this is a business that takes a lot of energy. You appear to have a lot of energy. Where does that come from? Is it because you're driven by something? Um,
I don't like to sit still. I've always been this way, but
go, go, go.
I have some worthy goals that I try to keep those in, mind all the time. Why am I doing this? What is the goal? Why am I at this customer's house again? Well, why am I driving all the way to Pigeon Forge to look at this pool? When I'm doing the day to day that, my and Corinne, my office manager, she's also my very best friend. We've been best friends for years. She was working for an HVAC company, doing their booking, customer service, routing the HVAC guys. So she was a perfect fit for what I needed for my business. And I couldn't do it without her. We go on adventures every day because East Tennessee, I cover a really big territory. So we
Wow.
see clients as far as Pigeon Forge, which if you've never been to Pigeon Forge, it is a different world in and of itself. The traffic is a nightmare. It's a major tourist destination. There's giant resort pools there. There's really old hotel pools there. There's cabin pools. There's so many. Just you can end up on a back road driving by a herd of buffalo. You just, there's so much crazy stuff up there. So we go up there. We're in Blount County, Loudoun County, and we have a lot of homeowners on the lake with these $1 million homes. And it's pretty fun to get to go check out a lot of these places and see how the other half lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and you, with your history of property management and real estate, you can really appreciate this. So when you talk about these lofty goals or the why you are doing this, how does legacy play into that?
I definitely want to build a legacy business, some either where if one of my sons wanted to take over, I don't think my daughter will. She is intent on being a physical therapist, so she has her path set out before her. But if one of my sons wanted to join the business, they would always have an opportunity, something to leave your family, something that you built, that I built. Because I really helped build this business and, the franchise aspect of it, the franchise is really important. They help you more than you know. If you're thinking getting into franchising, there's good and bad. There always is with everything, but
Mhm.
you have to weigh, that for you. But anyway, legacy, yeah, I hope to, one day not have anybody in debt, make sure all the lights are on, the house is paid for, you know,
Yeah,
be
yeah.
successful financially so that my kids, my grandkids, if we ever have, my son's getting married, my oldest son's getting married. So,
Chop, chop, son.
yep, in August. So,
Wow, that's exciting.
very exciting. So, I have 3 kids. It's about leaving them something. It's about doing for them, what can help them be successful in their whole life.
Yeah, to give them a leg up, and just a step ahead, right? That legacy piece is so important. It's what makes us sometimes just wake up and continue to power through, right? I think that's
Mhm.
the word you used earlier, to power through things because there's a bigger mission, a bigger purpose, including the trickle effect and the legacy that's left for your children and then hopefully one day their children's children, right? Um,
Yeah.
so that's a big mission that you have. So let's talk a little bit about American Swimming Pool Company. This is also under the Authority brand,
Correct.
which provides additional kind of resources for us. So what is it that you love about being part of something bigger?
I like the story of ASP, how they built the franchise system, and they were just recently acquired by Authority Brands. Um, they are the home office. They are very helpful with Google questions. Advertising. Advertising's huge. They do our direct mail. They keep up our Facebook page and Instagram, supplement those. Social medias, you can't live without it these days. You got to be putting it out there. You got to ask for Google reviews. I can't stress how important that is, and they're very helpful with that. And it's a branding. Our logo is Clean Water Matters. So clean water does matter, and not just in your swimming pool. They support the Clean Water Matters movement all over the world, which I think is really important to do. We need to protect our most important resource because without water, we wouldn't be here. So Clean Water Matters. Now I just they're always answering the phone. These guys have years of pool experience. If I run
Well,
into anything, I can call my business coach if it's on the book side, say, hey, what happened last month? I didn't meet my goal. What can I do? What do you see in my books that I could be doing better? Or, where can I maximize profit? What do I need to increase pricing? Do I need to cut expenses? They're very supportive in those kinds of questions. And then real world, swimming pool. I've been to see fiberglass pools installed. I went to pool school in Macon where they show you all the things you could ever want to know in a whole week.
yeah.
And then ongoing training. We just got back from convention in Dallas, the Authority Brands convention.
Oh,
I think there
yeah.
were about 3,800 owners there. in
Crazy.
Dallas. So yeah, it's a lot. It's nice to be a part of that Authority Brands family. We have other Authority Brands in Knoxville. And there's Cleaning Authority, Mosquito Authority, Monster Tree. So I have other franchise owners, built-in friends that I can call and say, hey, how's your franchise going? What are you doing? Would you like to advertise locally with me? I do a lot of high school banners, sports banners for baseball, softball, where they put you up in the
Yeah.
outfield.
So it offers this collaborative effort with the other brands under Authority Brands in your local market. But the piece that you really hit on that I want to give more light to is that you can pick up a phone and talk to your field coach and get some feedback and critique, etc. For those that have gone alone, and I'm one of those people, wild, crazy entrepreneur, right? I would have given just about anything to have someone who went ahead of me, right? That
Right.
could give me some feedback or knows the pain that we're going through. Because there's always growing pains when growing a business. To have others around you that have been there, done that, and can, speak truth to you and also encourage you at the same time is very, very powerful. So,
And these are
um,
some very successful men. And I say men because it's pretty much, yeah.
well, and that's the point that you are one of a small minority. This is typically a more male-dominated business. So you are not just dealing with franchisees that are male, but your employees are largely male too, right?
Yes.
So how does that work out? Are you a mama bear to them too?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Mom expects you to clean up after yourself too. Mom expects you to do what you were told to do. So a little bit, yeah, yeah. But I try to hire really good guys that I can keep around. Nobody's perfect. I have right now I have four guys. It's off season, so we usually I hire probably somebody else. And once we start opening pools, it's a little bit seasonal here. We'll have five trucks in the field once we get into the swing of summer. But yeah, I think I do a little mama on them too. Try to reward good behavior.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And the truth is, it's not that long before you're going to get crazy busy again as you go into your one
Oh, yes. We're in the
crazy.
middle of three renovations right now as we speak. So, yes, people are preparing for summer.
Yes, for sure. I know we are here in Northwest Arkansas. So how do you balance things, Carrie? This business that you're running, raising children, friends, activities, how do you balance it? It's one thing to say it and another
Yes.
thing to accomplish it. What tricks of the trade do you have to remind yourself it's a combination of work and play, right?
One thing I'm really good about is, after 5 o'clock, there are no pool emergencies. Okay. There's never an emergent. There's no true pool emergencies. Okay. If you've got a problem, turn the equipment off. That's all you got to do. We'll be there tomorrow. But I try not to do anything, in the evening hours. We open at 9. I get up in the morning early. I like to have my coffee and, focus for the day, figure out what I need to get accomplished that day. Whatever tools you have at your disposal, use them. I have to keep myself organized. If I get unorganized, that's when I tend to be thinking, oh, did I forget to do this? Oh, did I do that? You have a system and stick to it. When you pay a bill, put it in QuickBooks. When the customer calls, put it in right then. Don't, try to stay on top of everything because that'll make you at the end of the day feel like you've done your day's work. And I think when I worked in property management, that was never the case. You could never finish what needed to be done in the day. It was always this overload of work. So coming from that to setting my own schedule, being not attending evening board meetings, which I do occasionally, but I was attending probably 6 to 8 board meetings a month when I was doing property management. So, having your evenings to yourself, find a hobby. I like my plants. I'm ready for it to warm up. All my plants need to go outside. Have a hobby and make time for yourself. And in the summer, Corinne and I, we work from a body of water on Friday, whether it's the pool or we get on our kayaks, and we will answer the phone on the kayaks. We will,
Yeah.
but in the summer on Fridays, that's kind of our day to remind ourselves why we're doing all the things that we do Monday through Thursday. And we've trained most of our customers pretty well. They know there's no pool emergencies and don't call us on Friday afternoon. But if we've done our job Monday through Friday,
There are no emergencies.
then we
Right.
shouldn't have to worry about that. Everybody's pool should be pretty and clean and ready for the weekend.
Oh my goodness. What great advice that you just shared to literally organize your business in such a way that you're done at the end of the day because
Yeah.
of this organization. Going in the next morning, very clear on the goals and what needs to be done. And it's kind of like there's an end, right? There's an end at 5 o'clock, and then there's an end at the end of the week where now we can play. And you
Yep.
booked your life to make that a priority, to have that kind of balance. I'm not good at that, just to let you know, Carrie. In fact, I was up until 5:30 this morning
Oh
working
my
on
goodness.
projects. And I can tell you, those of us that are crazy like that, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for your body. It's not healthy for the business.
No.
It's not healthy for your mental health. It takes away from family. So I really admire that you have decided no evening meetings, where there are no emergencies after 5 o'clock. You've decided that and built your life.
Again, that's the beauty of the pool business. You can decide that. In property management, if there was a water leak in a 100-year-old building at 3 a.m., that was my problem.
Yes.
That's an emergency.
Yeah, different story.
So,
Sorry, yeah, but for
and
pools,
another philosophy that we all in the pool business live by is, it's not my fault you have a pool, sir. you know, it's
you chose this
ultimately
life.
it's your pool and I'm here to help you manage it, and I want it beautiful just as much as you do. But at the end of the day, it's not my pool. It's your pool.
So there's a bit of a detachment there. Hey, you chose this life. You wanted a pool.
That's right. You wanted a swimming pool.
I'm going to help you out, but it's not life or death here.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Earlier we were talking, Carrie, about kind of a theme in your life, or something that runs through your life. And you mentioned something about uh, we'll figure it out, we'll power through. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how it's really benefited you and your children and your business?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, as a head of a family, and I'm a single mom, so I'm the head of the family. I was married. I was a single mom, married, now single mom again. But you have to figure it out. You have to sit down as a family, put your heads together. You have to power through whatever circumstance you're facing. If it's bad news, then what can we do right now? Is there anything we can do right now? If not, we have to accept that. It may be, it's just how time will take. You may just need time. Whatever it is, you have to just figure it out. And my daughter is recently, her car is on its last legs, and she said, "Oh, I can't afford a car payment. I don't know what to do." And I said, "Reese, we will figure it out. We always do." That's just, if you have that kind of attitude that everything's going to be okay. When the bank account, you're going, "Oh, oh, I need this much money, and this person owes me this money, and I owe that person this money." You just got to be like, "Okay, we need to sell one more job this month. Who can we reach out to? What can we do to get to the next step to figure it out? Power through.
We'll figure it out. I am putting that on, right? For like, that's a filter in my brain that if I went through life with we'll figure it out. Yes, it's tough. We'll power through. We'll figure it out. It seems like that would open one's mind to solutions, right? So this may seem difficult for someone, but with an attitude or a mindset of we'll figure it out, somehow we will look in different directions or be open to other ways to solve whatever it is we're going through. You mentioned financial pinches, right, that we might have, or employee not showing up. We'll figure it out, right? We'll get through it.
Last summer, Corinne and I, here's a good example of that. We had a guy who wasn't doing anything. We found out fairly quickly. So I had to fire him on the spot, hired another guy, but he had to go through training. So me and Corinne went out and cleaned pools for a week last summer.
We figured it out. We
We figured it out. We were
Yeah,
not the
Corinne.
best pool cleaners in this company, but we did our best.
Yeah, you did not disappoint.
The guys were happy to load that truck up with chemicals for us in the morning and see us in our little ASP shirts out there with our brushes and poles.
Yeah, yeah, for
So,
sure.
and I guess that's a good example of running your business as a family. We're all in this together, guys. I've got a new guy hired. You take him, train him. We'll take care of these pools, and we're gonna figure this out. We got 1 week. We can do it for a week.
We'll figure it out. I got your back. You got my back. Together, we're gonna make this happen. You had that with your mom where you figured it out when you had your baby. You're doing the same with Corinne and with the rest of the team.
And Corinne is a trooper. How many office managers are going to be like, okay,
Clean a pool.
she had to drive the truck too, of course.
My gosh. Yay, girl. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. I said, I've never even really been in this truck much. But
So
yeah, we figured it out.
figured it out. I'm going to put a post-it note. You'll figure it out. I'll figure it out on my computer. So we running out of time here, but I do want to ask a question around a customer
Okay.
that you rescued from an issue, or was the craziest customer you ever worked with, or the thing that gave you the greatest satisfaction, a customer that you were working with. I want a story of how what you do is so vital.
Oh gosh, there's a lot to think of. I guess I would pick a commercial client because I still have the same relationships with HOAs that I have. I have 6 customers that were my communities where I managed their whole community. Now I just manage their pool, and one of them developed a crack around their coping in their neighborhood pool that was 18 inches back from the coping line. Well, I'm not boring you to death. Coping is only 12 inches. So we had to dig out additional concrete, and the health department was going to close their pool down.
Wow.
And this is a big pool. So we were able to get in there quickly, get all that concrete fixed. You have to dig it all out. We had to put in new coping, new tile. But it took us about 2 weeks, and their pool was only down that long, and their whole neighborhood got to enjoy it that summer because we came in and fixed it the way the health department said.
You made a lot of people happy.
Yes.
A lot of people that would have been quite disappointed at
It's
that.
a very busy neighborhood pool. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Moms and dads thanking you. Yay, we can go to the pool thanks to Carrie and team.
Yes.
I love it. Carrie, if someone wanted to learn more about America's Swimming Pool Company and or talk with you, how would they do that?
We have a Facebook page. It's ASP of Knoxville. You could message me on there. Um, we have an Instagram, same name. There's a Life at ASP on Facebook. If you search ASP Knoxville online, you'll come up to my Google. You can contact us. We have a webpage. It'll lead you to our
Thank
webpage.
you.
If you need service, all you have to do is fill out what you need, and our office will contact you and send a guy as soon as possible. But if you
Oh,
just want to talk, call the office.
there you go. There you go. I want to thank you for giving me this time to get to know you and to learn
Oh,
more.
I appreciate you having me. It's been really fun.
It's been fun for me too. Your personality is absolutely contagious.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
And I like this mama bear in you combined with this straight shooter that just puts it out there. Um, it's interesting when I think about it. A really good mama is someone that has provides structure and safety and security, but also provides love and nurturing, right? And you have both. You have this structure, you're organized, you are a straight shooter with everyone, but you also have this deep love for people and your children and your customers, and it shows up in the way you take care of those that you love and those that you are helping in their pool crises, right? If there is such a thing, right? So thank you again. I really appreciate you.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to those listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. Make sure to comment, share, like Carrie Waltman's interview today. And of course, we'll see you next week on another episode.